Okay. On this segment of Up Close and Personal, we have Kevin Marcus from the duo Black Violin in the house. Good afternoon.
How are you today?
Oh, busy, busy bee. My day starts at like 3 in the morning. So,
Yeah, well, I've been reading a lot lately, and one thing that I recognize is that we asked for this. This is what we wanted, and we're getting it. So we have to just take those blessings.
well, this is what we do, right? Well, my
Yep.
name is Osha Pania, and I represent Maxing Out Entertainment, and we've been doing social media marketing in Cleveland since 2011. Thank you for your time. I know I got you out of a session there.
Yes,
Actually,
yes, you did.
it was Melissa, not me. But anyway, I got you out of a session, and thank you so much for this interview.
Of course.
So, your mom made you join the orchestra when you were in elementary school.
That she did. That she made me just want to play something. She said I have to play some instrument or I have to do something because I was just idle, hanging out with these kids in my neighborhood and getting into trouble. And she just put me in a Saturday program, and by the time I went in there, the only thing left was violin, and I didn't even know what that instrument was. I didn't even know what it was. I was so just kind of distraught about it, but I did it, and I liked it, I guess, but I didn't think much of it. But the teacher was also the teacher at the middle school, that's across town. So I got into the performing arts middle school because I was her student, and then it did what my mom wanted. It got me out of the school district that I would go to if I went with all the kids around. And middle school was fun. High school was when it got interesting. High school is when I started getting really good at the instrument, just because I've been playing for a while, and then I started realizing how it could change people's perception of me. Just telling people I play the violin, and that's when I fell in love with the instrument. Is when I recognized its power, so to speak. So, shouts out to moms out there, mom appreciation, because without her, I would have never found my calling.
And you really thought you would be cool playing the saxophone at first, right? But
Every other instrument seems cooler than the violin. Like everything. Maybe not the clarinet, but every other one. Yeah, I thought I wanted to play, saxophone, guitar, anything,
but about
um, but violin. But I ended up there, and it changed my life.
well, the thing about the string instruments, and particularly the violins, viola, the upright, is that you don't have, like on a keyboard, you have the C note. You can see it. On a guitar, you have the frets.
The frets,
You
yeah,
don't have frets on these strings. You pretty much have to be almost pitch perfect.
pretty much. It's like a singer. You gotta hear the note before you play it.
Mm.
So and with us we can feel it. They call it muscle memory. So you're all over the violin, and that C, even if when you tune it differently, if you tune it to today compared to tomorrow, that C is slightly different, every day. So you always have to be listening. You're
That's
always listening, and me, I teach my students, you always have to be 3 notes ahead, because if you're not thinking about the note, you're not going to play it in tune.
and you're teaching too.
I have a couple students. Like, I
Oh,
wouldn't say I
that's
teach. I wouldn't
taking
say I
them
teach,
underneath your wing.
but yeah, I have a couple, kids, students I mentor. But yeah, that's what I teach them.
And so, no matter what the instrument was, you knew that you wanted to be a musician.
I
Uh
don't think I do. I don't think I necessarily wanted to be a musician, because I didn't fall in love with music because of notes or chords. I fell in love with it because of the power that a big black guy like me could play a violin. That's the thing that I loved about playing violin or playing music at all. just to be honest.
That's
You know,
it.
I can play in a really nice way. I could play you a song and it's beautiful, and I can play anything that I feel, and it's almost like another language that I possess because I've been playing for 30 years.
Yeah.
But the thing that made me fall in love with it was that I'm 6'2", 300 pounds. You know, normally got my full hair going on. You know, back in the day, saggy pants, and I could change people's perception of me immediately just by telling them I play the violin. I didn't even have to play it for them. I just say, hey, you know, they'll be like, if I'm going to a job interview, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm studying violin. I got a full scholarship to college. They're like, you play violin? Wow. You know, like if you tell someone you're a violinist, it's like telling them that you're a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like, you know, you're like kind of like elite. You know, you do something that everyone says is so hard. There's no frets. How do you do it? You know, and I think the power of that is why I play it. And then we try to take that power. Will and I, we take that power and try to make it musical, so that same energy that I'm talking about, that same, I could disarm a person that's armed by just the sight of me. I could disarm you by saying, hey, can I play you a partita? And but they're like, wow, I would never have thought that. And you changed how I would have thought of you. Put it into music and make a music with a message, music that breaks stereotypes and makes people think differently about what a violin can do, and also what a Black man or Black woman is capable of. So, you know, it's that kind of thing that made me fall in love with music. So no, I didn't think I was going to be a musician. I kind of wanted to do something that changes the world in a way, at least the way that the world looks at me and people like.
Well, you know, and I guess it's the genre too. You mentioned violin, and you immediately think classical. It's not some hip hop guy like you said with your pants hanging off and cussing and screaming and talking about chicks and all this stuff. So fast forward, okay, to Dillard High School,
Mm-hmm.
performing arts. Did you and Will B start to collaborate at that time?
Not really. Like in high school, we were in the same orchestra and we both played viola. And in the top level orchestra at my school, there's only 4 violas. So we was like, you know, the number 1 and 2 in the school for most of our high school years. But we didn't really mess around and collab together. We kind of went to like, Dilla was like a Black fame. So there's people in the voice department that are big time hit record writers. There are people in the theater department that work on Cirque du Soleil now as
Wow.
professionals. There's like, you know, like everywhere in the performing arts school we went to at the time we went, there was success in all different parts of it as we grew older, you know, and now we were the orchestral part of it. So everyone was feeding off of everyone at the time. Like Will and I hadn't necessarily done anything collaboratively yet at all in high school. We were just, except viola and orchestra. We were
Okay.
collaborating, of course, in that
Okay.
way, but we weren't. We were both listening to hip hop in a lot of different ways. He liked R&B. He was like Brian McKnight, all of that type of stuff. And then I liked. I was Biggie, Common, Lauryn Hill, Fugees, and then that was me. And then my other partner was another. It was a third one of us back in the day. He was like Bone Thugs and Harmony, and like so.
Clear.
So it's like he was all the West Coast people too. So it's like we had all kind of hip hop influences, and then we were studying classical music together. It wasn't until college where we started collaborating and mixing them and doing all kind of stuff. You know, high school was sort of just it's where we got our lessons from. It's where we got our chops. And then college is where we started like being like, all right, now we're really comfortable with how to play violin. Now let's blend it and see what else we can do with it. And then we are noticing people will always just be like, dang, that violin, how are y'all doing that? And we are like, doing what? Like, this is nothing. It didn't seem like anything to us. But we had to just figure out how to package it and sell it to the world.
Okay. And you and Will B were in your early 20s when you performed with Alicia Keys at the 2004 Billboard Awards. Was this your big break, you think?
Um, it was the first time we played with anyone of her level, definitely. It was the first time we played with a celebrity. We had just won Showtime at the Apollo maybe 2 weeks before this, and it had not aired yet. So we won. We knew we won 3 episodes back to back. So we was going to be a 3-time champ, a 3-week champ. But we didn't. No one had seen it, you know. So right after the taping of it, we go to Alicia Keys' manager's office, who my manager at the time met at a nightclub in Miami, because we're from Miami. And then we told him we just won, played for him and his team at his office. And then when we get back home, he called us and said, "Hey, you guys want to play with Alicia Keys?" And we were playing the song Karma, that what goes around must come up, must come down. And then there's a wicked violin line right there. And so we were playing that. and we end up playing, it's funny because we played the Vibe Awards first, and we were on the side about to go on, and then somebody punched Dr. Dre in the head or something, and the whole award show got shut down. And Alicia's team came like, we're not performing. We're like, what? We were about to perform on live TV with Alicia Keys, and then they say they're not performing now. So we flew back home. We're like, that's crazy. And they called us a week later, and they're like, we're gonna try to get in the Billboard Awards. And then we played at the Billboard Awards with them, and that was awesome. I mean, I remember coming off stage. As soon as I came off stage, my phone rang, and my mom was like, "I just saw you on TV." I'm like, "I told you." Like, she was like, "Is this real?" Like, so I wasn't. I wouldn't call it our big break, but it was the first big thing we had ever done. We had never done anything with anything. Like, we hadn't even done anything as Black Violin yet. Like, we hadn't even won Apollo, like, officially for the world to see yet.
Yeah.
So it was definitely the biggest thing we had ever done in our life up to that moment. So yeah, it was definitely a big deal. But a ton of stuff didn't. Well, I guess it did. I was gonna say a ton of things didn't come from it. So when you think of big break, you think it's that thing that broke everything open. But I guess it did. That and Apollo together opened a lot of doors and made the beginning of our career much easier.
And she was fairly new also. So so Black Violin, its namesake is after the album from the violinist Stuff Smith, who incidentally is from Portsmouth, Ohio. Can you tell us about Stuff?
Well, Stuff is a cold-blooded violin player, man. Like, he is bad. I can't play anything that he can play, not like he could play it. He's just like, I remember being in college and my teacher is studying with the Black guy named Chauncey Patterson, and he gives me a tape, and it's just this violin on fire. I don't know. All the tape is, I don't know. There's no cover on the tape. I don't know who's playing it, but I could tell he's Black. And that's the first time I'd ever heard a violin being played, and I could tell he was Black, you know? And I was just like, ooh, it just had so much soul to it. And you know, I just loved it. I listened to that tape all day, every day. I burnt it out, you know, it was that bad. And so Stuff is just, you know, he has this energy about him that's just incredible. And that he recorded the last album before he died. So it was sort of his last piece that he left for us to grab onto. And then, you know, for us to believe that, you know, we can make this thing sound like Black people, you know, I think that's what he did, you know, gave us that belief, you know, the representation of it. And then, you know, and then he gave us our name, you know, also.
Exactly.
So,
and he played with some of the greats, Charlie Parker,
everyone. Duke, he played with Miles, everybody. He was the Miles of violin. He was the, you know, that's who he was. He was that guy on violin. You want a violinist, you gotta get Stuff.
Exactly.
So he's that guy.
So why do you call it the Impossible Tour? It sounds like you're ready to make it happen here.
Well, I mean, because I think that people, like, they watch us on YouTube, or they'll you know, they'll come, they think they're ready, but they'll see things that they didn't think was possible, you know. And that's the whole trick to the show, is just that it's not just about music. It's about, we want you to leave like, man, like, I ain't expect that. I mean, like, even the kids, they come, they're thinking violin, like, how loud is it gonna be? You know, we got lights, bam, in your face. It's loud. It's, you know, we at you. We're coming to give it to you, all of it. Very, very energetic. So I think after everyone leaves, I think everyone's thinking like, man, it was good music, but wow, I'd never seen anything like this before. What can I do that no one else has ever seen? You know, and if we say it and we message through the show about it, I mean, I say simply, you see all of us on stage. I mean, are just doing this thing that we found that when we were kids. You know, this was stuff that we figured out when we were kids that we love to do it, and we get paid really well to do this. But it's finding that thing you love to do, find a slightly different way to present it to the world. You do that thing over and over and over, and someday somebody's going to pay you to do it. And if you think if I every child, any mentee I have, I always tell them, you know, if they're not already in that thing, find that thing, whatever it is. It could be something menial. It could be you really like cutting grass. When you cut your grass, just enjoy it. Like, oh, that's so nice. Maybe you should be in that business. Maybe that should be your thing. I don't know, you know, but open your eyes to it, because I feel like most people walk around, especially adults, they kind of go around and they live this job. It's like, oh, I gotta go to work today.
Go with the flow.
I gotta go give these people my 40 hours this week. I remember my mom used to say that same thing. And that's because you're not following that passion, that you're not following what your heart is saying. You're doing what you think you need to do to survive. And I understand that completely. But as a child, you don't have that. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to make money, but you could figure out that thing. And, you know, and then you can find something slightly different, some way to give it something that's yours. Put your stamp on it. And then, you know, you own this thing. It's nothing that anyone else can replicate. It's yours. You know, so, but it seems good in theory now after we've done it, but like truly, like it's the best way forward, I think, or at least it's an option that everyone should think about.
Exactly. You always need to follow your passions, though. Well, all right. We're looking forward to your return to Cleveland. And again, thank you so much for this interview, Kevin, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Cleveland. We cannot wait to come back and rock out for you guys, man. Cleveland audiences is always crazy. I want to say one last thing. Black Violin Foundation, we have a grant program that's open right now. So if you are a young student out there, you need just a connecting dot, like you need us to connect the dot for. You need another instrument, you need private lessons, just go to blackviolinfoundation.org. Our application period is open right now. We give out tons of grants to students all over the country. We've given out a few in Cleveland over the last few years, so we hope to see you guys on there. And if you watch this and you want to donate to help these kids, the grant is basically a connecting of dots, because it's not just that we play violin. It was some certain people along the way that really helped me, that bought me that first violin when I couldn't afford it, and I paid them back, that got me into that summer camp, that really got my playing to another level. All those type of things that helped us out, we giving back in that same way through our James Miles Innovative Music Grant. So please go check that out. And if you want to donate, please, same thing, blackviolinfoundation.org.
Okay, blackviolinfoundation.org. Okay, there you have it. Again, thanks so much, Kevin.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, take care. Peace.
All right, bye-bye.
So, the Black Violin will perform in the Key State Theater Thursday, May 5th at Playhouse Square. Thanks so much, and keep it online with Max and Our Entertainment. Peace out and see you.